Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Craft of the Titans. So, if you haven't seen the speed build, we worked on Hydroponics room. The entire speed build, Hydroponics room, and got that, squared away. I'm actually really happy with the way it looks. So, I'm so excited I can't even speak, right? Anyways, this is going to actually be using this tower. Previously, all we had in this tower was some farms at the bottom. We're finally actually getting into this tower. There's one other tower that really doesn't have anything. It's the one with the wither on the top. And then, of course, the sub-tower, the four upwards-facing towers, we'll call them that. Those, of course, we don't have anything in those yet. But anyways, let's go ahead and pop on in case you haven't seen the speed build. Here we are. This is our new hydroponics room. And this place is really massive, as you can tell. It's three segments like this of all garden cloches. So, I think during the speed build video, I crafted, I can't remember, it's like 300 or 400 of these things. They're really not that expensive. If we take a look here, it's mainly like iron plates was the main thing. Iron plates, glowstone, glass. We've got them automated. That makes 3 lanterns, then just some glass, tree wood planks, iron mechanical component. I had to cook up a bunch of copper. I cooked up, I think it was all of my copper that was left, if I recall correctly. But yeah, so anyways, this room is done. Other than just, I have to make some adjustments with the lighting, because long term I don't want these little Ars Magica lights. I will have probably some over the garden, little garden areas. Of course, these are just for decoration, but if I need 2 high flowers, I can come in here and bone meal these and get those. But other than that, it's just really decoration. But yeah, other than just adjusting and doing some lighting work, and then doing the stuff that we're going to be doing in here today, this room, for all practical purposes, is done. So, very happy with the way it turned out, personally. So, anyways, also since the last speed build video, I did build out this little segment down here. It's just cobble right now. We're going to decorate it in possibly the next speed build video and do some work in here. But I did start building this out, just kind of planning, because we are going to have to use this today a bit. But basically this is all space for storage drawers to store everything that's coming from our hydroponics area, as well as our fish farm, which is actually going to be behind this segment here. There's going to be a fish farm set up. And I have a really cool idea, because this tower is going to be a lot more agricultural focused. Granted, a lot of our farming setups are trees from Pam's Harvestcraft. The majority of our magical crop stuff, or mystical agriculture stuff, the majority of that stuff's going to be in a separate dimension, just to help reduce lag. But I am going to have the fish farms here, and that, and then we'll have a little bit of ag-based stuff below this in the the subsequent floors. So the theme of this tower is going to be a bit more nature-y, I guess, to some extent, kind of like our hydroponics room, kind of like nature meets tech sort of thing. So back in here, we're going to end up setting fish farms. I don't know if we're going to get to it today, because we do have a bit to cover to get this room up and going. But I'm planning on doing, like, of course, there's going to be like pools of water and then like sugarcane and stuff like that. So it's kind of like almost like a Zen pond type area. And it'll be a nice backdrop for our drawers. And then if we come through here to the elevator, there's going to be that going on in there. And I might put some animals in there just for decoration. I'm not for sure yet. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started with what we're going to be doing today. Our primary goal today, of course, is that room. We have to plug up water. We have to plug up power. We have to set up crops. We're actually going to be doing a new power transfer system. It's going to go hand in hand with our flux networks. It's going to take a little bit to get into that. Originally, I was planning on doing immersive engineering, actually, the immersive engineering cables. And I want to bring that up real quick. I was planning on doing the immersive engineering cables and plugging these up and having like a nice string of wiring and stuff like that through here. However, I totally forgot that in 1.10 they changed the mechanics of those, where you have to use relays to move between wires, and you can't use connectors. Like, for example, I couldn't put a connector here, a connector here, a connector here, and then just link them all together like you could in 1.7. That's one mechanic that they added to immersive engineering that I do not like, because you can't make, like, I couldn't really effectively wire this and make it look good with immersive engineering. You know, used to it would have looked really good with the wires going through. Now I'd have to put like a central part and then connect it to these, and it would look really gaudy. So instead, we're going to go with a different transfer system, because I don't want to use conduits, but I also don't want to use flux plugs on every single one of those, because there's hundreds of those. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. And I think the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to go for the power. And go ahead and get into that. And to do that, we are actually, I guess I'll start with this. We're going to get into Draconic Evolution. Fun stuff. So, let's go ahead, pull this up. And we're going to want to get ourselves 9, I believe it's 9 that I'm going to want. Yes, it's 9 basic fusion crafting injectors. And out of curiosity... Okay. I forgot to look at that, but I do have nether stars. I went ahead and prepped nether stars because I knew we were going to need them this episode. I have like 30, 36, or something like that. Nether stars ready to go. So let's go ahead and get this. Actually, I tell you what, I'm not going to automate that. I'm just going to order. There's really no reason to automate it, because long term, we're only going to need like 10, 11 of them, I believe. Because you need one to kind of help. If you're upgrading injectors, you need one to act as the other injector. Because I believe, no, 8. 9 of them. Yeah, we need like 9 or 10. I think it's 10 that we need for every single recipe. But anyways, let's go ahead and head on to the end, because we do need a bit of draconium. And let me just fly out and see if I can find... Actually, I could probably mine everything I need, since we do have...
These nuts.
Got
him! Got him!
You got me. You're so sneaky. Okay, anyways, let me get just a bit of draconium here. We're going to need a bit, like a few hundred, I think, so... Shouldn't take but a moment. Okay, we've got a fair few stacks of these, so I'm going to head on back to the overworld. And you know something I just realized that we have not checked on in a while? And I'm unsure as to how it's going. That is our dragon. We had that dragon pet, or that dragon mount. Yep, there he is. Haha. Let me go ahead and grab him, in fact. I'm actually just going to dump this witch. I don't really need it. I have spawners for it. And we'll grab our dragon. I've actually never... I wonder if you could just make a spawner. I think you probably could. Just have a whole bunch of dragons. Alright, let's just put this down. Yes. Okay, we have a pet dragon now. Okay, anyways, I do plan on getting all the dragons and just having them. I may end up setting them up their own like little stable somewhere. You know, I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, let's go ahead, and probably the quickest way to dump this. Shift right click it onto there, and there we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and order this stuff as ingots. I have it set up right now so it doesn't auto-craft the dust into ingots. That's just because right now there's actually a fair few things that take the dust. And so I want to have dust on hand if I need it. And it really only takes a second to cook this stuff up. Alright, so now let's go back to this. We're going to need 5 more of these basic fusion crafting injectors. And it looks like I'm out of draconic cores. Let's go ahead and automate that. And I tell you what, while we're at it, let's go ahead and automate... let's see... It's right here, Wyvern Energy Cores. Go ahead and automate those as well. Speaking of, how much redstone? I have none. All my fuel production has eaten through all my redstone. That's fine. I can go mine it up. It really does not take long to get a bunch of redstone. And before long, the fuel production, if I can keep up with the redstone, yeah, it's going up at a decent pace. So before long, that won't be an issue anymore. Alright, let me go ahead and order like 20 of these things because I know we're going to need them. So might as well. And there we go. There's our 9 basic fusion crafting injectors. And then, which what we're going to be making is basic, so I don't even have to worry about upgrading these right now. And then we're going to need our fusion crafting core. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab some conduits. I will say that I'm not going to automate this just yet. That's because one thing that I want to automate, or to use in automating this, I don't have access, or I haven't gotten to yet. Let's say that. And I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and get a... Actually, I think I have a redstone clock here. I do. We'll grab that. And let's get 2 chests. And then just a couple item conduits. And I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and order like an extra 128 of these. Because we are going to need them. I don't know. Yeah, we'll need that many. Tell you what. This is all just temporary, but I'm going to do that. I think it can connect directly onto a flux plug. I could be wrong, but I think so. And we'll just bring it down right here. It's going to be just in the middle of everything at the moment. And I guess we'll have our injectors like right here. The first 5. Like that. And then we'll bring this along. And our crafting core, our fusion core, is going to go right here. And I need more conduits. Okay, there's 8. I don't know if 8's going to be enough, but let's try it. Realistically, I don't care much for using those conduits, but I can't remember. Is that too close? I feel like it needs to be out one more, but I can't recall for the life of me. Alright, so lay these out, and whoops, this one there. Yeah, I feel like those need to be out one more. We'll see. We shall see. So anyways, that's done basically. Kind of, maybe. Fingers crossed. And then to actually get to where we can use this, we're going to need to... Actually, I think I have everything automated for wyvern cores. Yeah, just draconic cores, draconium blocks, nether stars, block of emerald. Alright, so we're going to want blocks of emerald. Let's go ahead and get like... We'll start with 8 of them. That should be plenty. And then we're going to want nether stars, 16 of those. Yeah, and I've still got 16. So yeah, I had 36 whenever we started. And then, tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and automate the process of making these basic energy relay crystals. So there's that. And then I want to automate the wyvern one. Wyvern core, we'll be doing that manually. We'll go ahead and teach it this recipe. No. Okay, the picture is just bugged for some reason. And then I'm going to want an basic energy, or I'm sorry, wyvern, no, whoops, wyvern IO crystal. Go ahead and teach it that. Not going to worry about the basic one because I don't plan on using the basic really. We're at the point where wyvern's not really an issue. And then the wyvern wireless energy crystal. So there's that. And then I'm also going to want to teach it particle generators. So there's that. Okay. So there we go. And then to make our core that we need, what all was it? Emerald check, nether star check. We're going to need 5 draconic cores, 2 draconium blocks for each one. So there's our 16 draconium. And then what was it? Did I say 5 apiece? Okay, there's 35. We're going to need 5 more, but I don't have enough gold at the moment. So That's not a problem. I'll just go get this smelting up. But let's see. Can we do this? Or is this too close? I'm not for sure. Actually, it's showing no energy at the moment. I may actually have to put a capacitor between that, which if so, that's fine. It's not a big issue. There we go. There's the nether stars. There's the emerald. And we'll go ahead and set these in as well. And I believe that's everything. We just don't have any energy in this right now. I can only assume. Okay. Well, that's what we got capacitor banks for and stuff. So let me get this. Yeah, honestly, I think the basic capacitor is like the strongest one that we have at the moment. So I'll just switch that first energy conduit with this. Put that right there. Put that right there. Okay. So now we should be able to get this started. No, why not? Oh, you know what it is? It's because it's too close. Duh. Okay. Let me pull all this stuff out and we'll shift it. Like I said, I thought that was a little bit too close, but once I got it set up, I can never remember, like, how far these need to be. I do love this crafting mechanic, though. It's like one of my favorite, like, major mod changes within 1.10. I do quite like it. Okay. Okay. Now, there we go. Now it's picking that up. Okay, so let's go ahead and automate this process a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to set a chest here, and we're going to say that you can pull out items. Now, we can also do insert. I'm not going to worry about that right now. From the Fusion Crafting Core. We'll get into that once we actually get into like armor upgrades or something like that, where you have stuff that doesn't stack. Like in here, it doesn't stack. And it needs to be done separate and all of that. So, anyways, let's go ahead. We'll put the Redstone Clock right there, and that's going to start running and start producing our wyvern cores for us. And I'd love to get the wither automated. It would make progression through this a bit easier. I know that was one of my plans for this episode, but then I realized once I get started, well, we've got to start Draconic Evolution to get the energy transfer that I want. Since Immersive Engineering, that's one thing. I wish there was a cable. I don't even mind if it was a little bit more expensive, but I wish they included a cable that had the ability to insert power and transfer along a line. You know, kind of like how the old cables used to do, because the thing is, the change with that kind of makes me like, not really interested in Immersive Engineering cabling anymore. I don't mind the fact that it doesn't change RF to EU. You know, that was something that was basically more or less, to me, it was a bug. I know it was kind of intended, but it shouldn't have been there, I don't think, in the first place. And, you know, I think getting rid of that was a good change. But alright, let's get 5 more of these. Right now, this is getting to our first core. Like, we're still working on it. It does take a lot of power to make these, like 9 million RF. No, it's a lot for us right now, I guess. Not with our new generator, though, really. Okay, so to actually make our Wyvern Energy Relay Crystals, it's going to take Wyvern Energy Cores. We're going to need 4 of the basic Energy Relay Crystals, and then a Wyvern Core for each of these. So let's go ahead and order, say, 4 of these. We're missing redstone. That could be a problem. Okay, let me go get some... Yeah, give me just a minute. I'm going to go get a bit of redstone. It shouldn't take too long in the mines. Thing is, like with Fortune 10, anything like that that can be affected by Fortune, getting a bunch of it's not really much of a concern. Alright, we've got nearly 4 stacks of blocks at the moment. I think that should be good for the time being. There's still a lot of places in my mind where I haven't mined up everything, you know? So I can just kind of fly through there and redstone, 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 like that. Okay. Let's see how this thing's coming along. It's not the fastest process, that's why I wanted to go ahead and get this stuff running. Okay, but we do have a few of these, so I'm going to grab those. And a lot of that redstone, of course, is going to go probably to my fuel system, you know, creating fuel, but that's fine. Okay, these are to finish out that. Okay, so now I think we're all set to... How many did I put in there? Was it 5? Yeah, it was 5. So let's go ahead and order ourselves... It's 3 crafts. Tell you what, we'll order 20 of these. We're short on draconium. Gold. Okay. Alright, well I've got gold cooking. Let me go get a little bit more draconium. Honestly, 5 orders of that stuff should be good. We are going to have to get blaze rods as well. So I'll tell you what, give me just a second. I'm going to go get draconium. I'm going to grab our gold. I'm going to get some blaze rods, and then we should be sorted on energy. Because, I mean, we're just about done with the energy process. Most of the worst stuff is out of the way now. Whoops. I must have shifted and not realized it. Okay, so we got a bunch more draconium now. I did pick up some sunstone, some lava crystals, some dimensional shards. Also a bit of this anglicite from the end. It's not very common. It's actually fairly rare. I actually got a few more pieces than that, but I did throw them in the ender pouch. I think I have like 11-ish now. I do believe. Something like that. But we should be all set now. Let's... And that's the last wyvern core running, by the way. I brought those draconic cores and set them up. Let me go ahead and order 512 of that. So that'll start smelting. And then we're going to go ahead and order, I guess, yeah, we'll just go straight to the wyvern energy. Let's see. It's wyvern wireless energy. Yeah, we'll order like 4 of these. No, we won't. Man, that's so expensive on blaze rods. Okay, well I can order 2. I have enough blaze rods for 2 of them. Okay. So there's 2 wyvern wireless energy crystals. That's going to cover, let's see, wyvern does 32 connections. So that's 64. And then I can always go get more blaze rods once we get started with this. I'm also going to want a wyvern energy IO crystal. And then we'll just take this other relay. And we're actually going to need one other thing, or a couple other things. We're going to need a flux plug. I'm sorry, a flux point. There's that. And then we're also going to want the crystal binder. This right here. Oh, you know what? Oh, I do have a blaze rod. Awesome. I just need 1 draconic core. And there's that. And then we're going to need something. Not for sure. I'm not for sure if the flux plug will connect directly onto the draconic IO. So we'll have to see about that. I guess we'll need to go in to the floor below this one first. Because I'm going to set all this up underneath the floor and along the edges. Because we actually have these big cutouts that I was planning on using. And I want to reduce the amount of crystal lines as best that we can. So like here's the floor, here's the actual garden cloches. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to set up 1 wireless energy crystal right there. And then we'll put a flux plug. I think this will be like the first wireless one. See, that's the floor. So I'll tell you what, we're going to have our flux plug right there. And then we're going to put our IO crystal. If this works, I don't know for sure. We're going to say that you connect to the primary power network. It's getting RF. Awesome. For some reason, I thought it crashed because it kind of like stalled for a second. And I was like, uh-oh. I was like, I think I just crashed it. But I didn't. It's awesome. Alright, so we're going to select that one. Shift right click. And then we're going to come over here. Where's my other one at? Oh yeah, it's this section here. Yeah. And then we're just going to right click this one. There we go. Devices are now linked. And we'll shift right click this one to select it. And we'll go start plugging this up. Now the cloches from my testing, I noticed they only use about 8 RF per tick each. So that's why I didn't mind setting up a bunch of these, because they're so cheap to run. They're so cheap. So we have 32 connections that we can use. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so there's 16, and then what I'll do is I'll just duplicate it up here. So all of those are now connected to a wireless I/O. And then I'll need to connect up this section here next, I think. Okay, but we'll set the next Draconic wireless. We'll put it right here. We're going to need more of these. I'm going to need so many blaze rods. I have to automate blaze rods like soon, because it's getting to where we're definitely going to need it. So they're becoming a nuisance, to say the least. And then we'll go ahead and just connect that over. That one could potentially have a wire line coming through. I don't know for sure. Yeah, that one I'm going to have to change. That's fine. It's not a problem. Okay. It seems like running the power to the machines, I don't think it does. Actually, I think it's just the conduit. So that actually makes my job a bit easier, in fact. So what we're going to do is we'll just clear the links from this one. We'll shift right click that, connect it to that. And as long as we keep all of our wireless stuff low, we shouldn't have any power lines showing. Now there is still like the little visual effect where energy is going to the machines, but I'm not really seeing it all that much. I think because it's coming right through the wall and hitting this stuff. I don't know. It's not really showing up, which is fine by me. Alright, so we're going to connect these up. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that's 10 connections. This will be 20. And then I guess I'm going to go ahead and connect this top section. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And then we'll just go 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Okay, so now all of this section is done. All of that section's connected. Awesome. And looks like we'll probably need, yeah, like probably for this whole side, I'm thinking like 3 more wireless relays. I mean, it's gonna be expensive on blaze rods. I'm gonna have to go farm up a bunch more of those. If we have time, we might actually set up a spawner, but we'll see. But since we got that done, let's go ahead, and the next thing we're going to need is we're going to need a bunch of conduits, and we're also going to need some sinks, like those sinks. So let me get the item conduits. I don't think we're going to use those yet today, because you can pump bone meal into these. They actually run fairly fast even without bone meal. The only thing is I don't have bones being automated yet. I've got a few, but I'm going to wait to pump bone meal in until I have bones automated. So that we're not going to worry about item conduits right this second. But we are going to need fluid conduits. And I'm going to go with pressurized, but I'm going to need a bunch of fused quartz, which I have not automated that yet. Okay, let me automate that. We'll just teach it a quick recipe here. We'll say if you take 4 quartz, you're going to get a fused quartz. Encode it. There you go. Oh, I had enlightened. Okay, I was like, is that fused quartz? No. And we'll throw that into there. And I'm thinking that these should be able to transfer enough energy to run all of those cloches. Because like I said, those cloches really don't consume a whole lot of energy. So we should be fine. Let's go ahead and order like 128 of these. Sounds good. And then, like I said, I'm going to want a bunch of these sinks. Not necessarily a bunch of them, but I am going to get a few of them. I need to actually get water in my system, so it's a little bit easier to craft with water-based stuff. I think for right now, 3 will be fine. And then I'll do more of these off camera. Because we've got a lot to set up with this stuff. But the main things you needed to run, like as far as constant supply to it. Oh yeah, I am going to need item conduit. I don't know what I'm thinking. Because it's going to have to pull items out, right? Okay, let's grab all those. And we'll head on over. But as far as running this, the main thing that it has to have is power and water. Bone meal is optional. Bone meal does go a long way, though. Like, 1 piece of bone meal will grow, like, a lot of crops. But we'll get this set up. We'll see how fast it's running. By the way, that's what happens whenever I hold a conduit. Because if you notice in the speed build video, I went ahead and made all this stuff out of facades. So everything's ready to go right now. Just to make it a bit easier on us. I think this will be easier to set up from the bottom. And basically water and items can pump in the bottom. The output is right there on the back side. And then energy from the top. And that's really all you have to worry about. So we're going to start with the ones I think in the front here. And we're going to go ahead and just plug these up. We'll just do conduits. And basically I'm going to have like a sink for every like little section. And then we'll have some sinks on a little bit higher up for the upper section. But honestly, I think about like that should be good. I think 1 sink should be able to feed these, no problem. Honestly, I could probably do more, but I'm not min-maxing this. Alright. We'll set up our sink there, and we'll say that you can extract, always active. And these are going to start filling up with water. Okay? And that's what the GUI looks like. I don't think we've looked at that. This is... Okay, I wonder why I was showing no energy before. May have just been a bug. This is your fertilizer amount. This is water. This is where seeds and soil go. This is output. And that's your power generation. Okay, so those are set up. Let me set up the next little string of these. Basically, this little segment is going to cover all these in this first little... I don't know what you'd call this, but this first little bit right here. Just like that. And then we'll put the sink in, like right... Yeah, we'll put the sink right here. Should be good. We'll say that you can extract. And I guess technically I could have this extract from 3 different directions. I think it would actually fill up. The water would go a little bit quicker. Yeah, it filled all those up like super quick. Really, I mean, I guess I could make these sinks go a little bit farther. And then I know these aren't connected up with energy and stuff yet, but I'm going to go ahead and just plug up 1 more section of water for this. Just to use up that last sink that we've got. And honestly, these may supply water to the upper sections too. It's honestly probably going to be enough water. If not, I can just put more extract points on it and it should be fine. So that's probably what we'll do is just, whenever we get to the top section, which today I'm just going to set up 1 section. Like I said, we could have 4 of every crop in the pack within this, so that'll be fine. Okay, so this one's going to come all the way around to here. So pretty much the first like half section is all done now. And then, yeah. That is good. And we'll just plug up our last sink here. So water for the first segment is done now. And then we'll just say extract is active. So that is done. And we'll just head on upstairs. Well, actually, yeah. We're going to head on upstairs. Or no, actually, let's head on over here. I'm going to need to get my drawers now for the drawer setups. And basically, like I said, there's 75 different crops that we're going to be growing there. And then in addition, we'll have a few things like wheat seeds. Yeah, a few little things like that. The Pam seeds that we're going to be getting, because this does produce Pam seeds passively. Honestly, I'm probably just going to have those get sent. Like anything that doesn't have a drawer to go to, then it's just going to get sent to make biomash, I guess. I don't know. I'll think about it and figure out what I want to do with it. Okay, but anyways, I've got a little on this drawer framing table. I think this is the drawer that we're going to go with. We're going to use green rimmed black stable stone right there, and then laboratory blocks. So it ends up something like this. I do quite like that design a bit, personally. So let's go ahead and grab... No, I didn't mean to do that. Why you gotta do this? My chisel. We'll fix these up. I've had like just enough conduits pretty much. That's awesome. Okay. It's this tile laboratory block as well. No, I just want the front. Can't do it without getting more green stable stone. There's that. Other way around. There we go. There's that, and then there's the other 11. So there's 75 drawers. Basically, that's as much crops as we have. I know there's some things like the wheat and stuff that we're going to have a little bit extra production on, but this will get us started anyways. And we'll go ahead and set these up down here. This is the whole segment here that is cut out for those. So, and I think these drawers, once this room is done out, I think this is going to look good. Because what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to have like a glass wall here. And then, you know, we'll have this end garden back there, and you'll have like this nice vantage point for the garden. It'll just be like some crops and stuff. Nothing, you know, the fish nets will be producing fish, but then we'll just have like some crops and animals and stuff like that, just for the decorative aspect of it. Okay. So there is 75 drawers. So we still got a little bit of space. That could be maybe for wheat seeds and stuff like that. And we'll get those put into there. And then, I'm not for sure what I want to do with the rest of the stuff. Actually, you know what? At first I was thinking, well, if the drawers fill up, I want these to stop running, right? But now that I think about it, no, I don't. So, because I want these to run, even if it's filled and it's just trashing the stuff, I actually want these to keep running because I want, if I walk into the hydroponics room, I want to be able to see crops growing, regardless of how long it's been running, because that's one of the features that I like about these, is actually getting to see these things grow. So, never mind. Let me get just a bit of this. Now, of course, this stuff can be changed over just like the drawers. So, I don't know if you guys have seen, like up here, for example, like this is a frame trim that looks like concrete. Because I think I'm going to do the ceiling in here with that gray concrete, so that's why that's changed over like that. For right now, I'm just going to do frame trim. Whenever I go back through and actually decorate that room, I'll change it over to whatever we're actually going to be using. And then we're going to need a drawer controller. I did start making some of the pieces for this. Mainly the structure voids are made. The tin plates. And there we go. Drawer controller. Oh, I had more structure voids? Really? I crafted those earlier because I was about to craft the drawer controller, and then I got sidetracked. And so now I've got extra. That's fine. I'll use them for something, I'm sure. And then this, we're actually going to set it up like right here. I know it's kind of sideways, but nothing I can do about that, sadly. And then we'll have the... Which technically, I mean, I could put this under the floor if I wanted to, but I don't want to. So, we'll have the trim come up right there. We'll have it connect there, whoops, and then connect there, oops. So, just like this. And like I said, whenever we actually build this room out, we'll change this over and make it look good. And then while I'm at it, let me go ahead and just connect this over since I have the trim on me right now. So there we go. And then all we got to do is just plug that up, and that's done. Woot. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have like a pillar. Basically, like this is going to be like a pillar that goes all the way up to the ceiling. And then we'll just have the item conduits ran through that. They go straight into the drawer controller, and pew, that's done. And then we'll just have a trash can up here on a lower priority, and will be set. This is set specifically to... Oh, it's on balance mode. I'm going to say input mode. Okay. So it's inputting power from the flux point into the I/O, then into the system here. So, alright, so now that that's done, we have... I mean, I guess I got to run item conduits. I'm dreading this. This is actually going to take a minute. Basically what I need to do now is I need to connect item conduits onto the back of each of these cloches. Oh, no, it's actually that one. It's not as bad then. Okay. But I've got to plug this up, basically just like the water, because these are outputs on the back side here. Also, as a heads up, one thing that's actually kind of sad, because originally I was planning on using the seeds that are produced in this farm to produce Actually Additions fertilizer that's then pumped, you know, back into the farms. But when I was testing, that fertilizer won't work. So, just a heads up. Because if it did, you could easily make like a self-sufficient fertilized farm that just, the seeds get broken down into biomass, that gets composted, and then you make fertilizer, and it would be amazing. But sadly, at least as of right now, these don't work with Actually Additions fertilizer. Alright, the last bit of conduits here, yay, for the first side. And then I've got to repeat this basically 3 other times. But that's why I wanted to go ahead and do conduit facades. I will go through later and clean them up, like cut out the ones that I don't need. But I was like, well, we've got the resources, why not just make all this out of conduit facades? That way I can easily wire this stuff up, but we can still have the room looking nice. And not have that like ugly period where like I've ran a bunch of cables, like basically what our tech building is right now. I tried to avoid that as best I could. Because this room, I want to get it set up, and I'm going to do like wiring like a little bit at a time. I'm not going to, because I'll go crazy if I just wire this entire room in one sitting. So, just a heads up. But, you know, I'll do a little bit of wiring, and then I'll change over and do something else or whatever. And once all that wiring's done, I want this room to just be done. You know, get all the seeds set up and all that fun stuff, but I want this room, for all practical purposes, to be finished. So, alright, so that is all wired up now. It has water, it has energy, it has item extraction. The only thing remaining is down the road I will have to run item conduits to pump bone meal into each of these. But, I mean, all I gotta do is set up a different channel line, throw some conduits on the bottom, and we're set. So, and you can say you can't see any conduits. It's still pretty in here. Alright, so now that that's done, now comes the fun part. I have a list here that I wrote out, and we are going to have to implement all the different crops into this. Okay, and we get to actually start seeing this thing run, which is awesome. So first up, I'm not going to do all these on camera, but I'm going to give you an idea of what we're doing, and I'm going to basically set these crops up in order that I have on my list here. So that way I can kind of, if I'm missing a spot, I can look at it and say, okay, well that's this, and it's very easy to cross-reference. Actually, I just realized I did not put nether wart onto this list, so I just put that in there. So we actually have 76 crops. And I'm not for sure about like purple mushrooms and stuff. I mean, that's why I have the extra space. I can play around with it, see about these, because some of these I haven't tested. I'll grab one of these and see if it can be planted anyways. But basically we have to make sure that our soil types match up with the crop. Now, I'm not for sure about mushrooms. I haven't tested them. If it has to be mycelium, which if it does, I'm curious to see actually what the crafting recipe for mycelium is. Nature essence, dirt essence. I might have some of that lying around. I'm not for sure. I tell you what, we're going to start with chorus fruit. I'm going to move that one to the front of the list because I like chorus fruit. I want it to be right at the entrance. I think what we're going to do is we're going to have like the vanilla crops first, then we'll have all the Pam stuff, then the Actually Additions, and then the industrial hemp back there. Or we might move industrial hemp to around the vanilla part. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to grab some industrial hemp. We'll have that one at the entrance, as well as our chorus flowers. And chorus, of course, has to be grown on endstone. And in addition, I'm going to want... no, I'm not going to want an ender chest. I don't know what I'm thinking. Okay. That should be it. And actually, before we get started, let me grab my key really quick. And I'm going to have to craft upgrades for this. Luckily, I have enough emeralds for that. Maybe, probably. At least to put a big dent in it. Because I am going to want to upgrade these. I'm going to want, you know, massive numbers of stacks and all that stuff. Because I'm a hoarder. Oh, it's actually kind of hard to see the key with this. Well, for some reason, just like those, it's hard to see it. But we'll lock all these down. And I will have to get a few more of these drawers. Not a problem, because, I mean, I've got... Drawers are automated. We've got the resources, so... I think probably by the end of it, my intention is, like, this whole wall just be crops. And then this whole wall be maybe some additional crop overflow, maybe some seeds, stuff like that. But then mainly fish on that wall. Fish, you know, stuff from our fishing nets is kind of my goal. Alright, so... let's go ahead, and I tell you what, I'm actually going to also want to just set up a conduit line here, and I'll facade this later. I mean, this room's made out of cobblestone, so what do you expect? That's let's see, that's a conduit line. Just bring that down. Okay, slight change of plans. I'm sure you noticed I was plugging up the conduits to the bottom, whereas this little orange spot there is the actual output, the intended output. However, the reason I was doing that is because in my test world, I was able to get conduits to pump out of that bottom one. And I couldn't get them to pump out of that middle one. However, for some reason, it no longer works. It's random. Basically, like, I was able to get it to pump out about 5 melons, but then it stopped working. So the conduits really aren't reliable at all. And I can't get them to start working. I even updated Immersive Engineering. I know it's on the GitHub for the mod because I know a lot of people are having issues with it. Item conduits will not pull out of this. At least not reliably. Like I said, I was able to get it to work randomly in my test world. And when I first did it, it just worked when I plugged it into that bottom section. That's why I started plugging everything up like that. I was like, oh, well, this works. You know. However, that is not the case. And this stuff, I did set up a couple of these just for testing purposes, so we'll plug one of those up in just a moment. But I think we're going to use, since we can't use conduits, we are going to switch over and do it with conveyors. And actually, I mean, I think it'll look pretty good. My only concern is that many items moving around on conveyors. It can be kind of dangerous. However, I can get rid of almost all the facades that I've made. So between episodes, I'm going to have to totally redo that because, you know, I built all of this out of facades thinking that I was going to be running a lot of item conduits and stuff like that through this area. I did go a little bit overboard. I just kind of got in the habit. I could have not done these or these if everything worked as intended, but I will clean up all those facades, and that's going to make that place run a bit better, even if we are using conveyors. But let's go ahead and at least get a few of these set up. I know it's getting close to wrapping up point, but I'm going to want conveyor belts. We can do this with rubber. Yes. That's what we're going to do then. So let's go ahead and get like a stack of conveyor belts to start with. I'm also going to get a dropping conveyor belt. We're going to get like, say, 4 of these. So there's that. And then I'm also going to want... See, I don't think I need a splitting... No. None of that stuff. Let me also get a bit of steel scaffolding, though. There's 2 pieces. Let me see, actually. Yeah, I'm going to get like a stack of steel rods. And then we're going to get ourselves 62 steel scaffolding. For right now. And let me actually take a look at this, because there's a couple different variants to this. And I'm not for sure which one I want to use. just yet. There's standard. That one's like with grading. And then there's also that one. Which honestly, this is going to have conveyors on the top of it. So really, I'll just use standard. It's fine. So let's go take a look. I know that the Ender IO magnet does not pull stuff off of conveyor belts, but I'm not for sure about our magnet ring that we have. I don't know for sure. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to have this. Basically, it's going to run off along like this. I am going to clean up some of the scaffolding once we get all this put down, because I want the... I think I'm going to want this to be more like supports than anything. Yeah, I've got to clean up those facades. Because honestly, I can cut down and only really have the facades. I think these would be the only ones that I'd have to have just for water transfer. That's what's causing this like lag spike, is, you know, the number of conduit facades in this area. Okay, and that should be good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just set this up. Let me get my conveyor belts. And we're going to have this one pulling out right there. And honestly, I may have to do a little bit of adjusting, because if you like right click the garden cloche, like the bell jar part with the hammer, like it stops extracting. So, and you have to like rotate it a few times before you can get it to extract. Oh, I should have done this first. Okay, I pulled all of those back up because I realized I have to do this first. We'll rotate that one. This one. We're going to have all of these pulling out in this direction. And what we'll do is we'll just bring our conveyor belt around like this. And we're going to, I mean, we'll just have to see how this works once all the PAM stuff is set up. And like I said, I mean, some of these might not pull out initially, so I'll have to just like right click the bell jar. I bet you're going to see it with this one, I imagine, once we get over to there. But let me go ahead and set all this scaffolding back up. We'll get the rest of this ran over. And kind of what I'm thinking is each segment of this is going to have its own like conveyor line. So I'm hoping that it's not... I mean, these things grow so fast, though. And there's really no way to tone them down, which is, I mean, it's good for crop growth speed, but it could be bad for my conveyor belts. We'll see. And I might even change the steel scaffolding to a different block entirely. I'm not for sure yet. It was kind of like a spur-of-the-moment decision, because, like, I've been messing with this for a while. Oh, my gosh. You're throwing everything at me. Okay. So we're going to have, say, if I had a chest sitting right, no, not right there. So I have an item conduit there, and I had a chest sitting right here. Yeah, there we go. Chorus fruit. Okay, that's perfect. And then really if I wanted to, what I could do is, like on this line, have like a dropping conveyor that drops down onto this conveyor. So maybe these conveyors will travel in this direction and then come down here and drop onto this conveyor and then get pulled around. Depending on if that's going to be laggy or not, I don't know. Because, I mean, you can see these things are growing like super fast. And if I had like hundreds of these growing at a time... but basically what I want to do is just pull this stuff down. We're going to say that extract can be always active. And I am going to have to plug this... I tore up all the conduits in here, so... Okay, so we should be getting items into this. We are. We have 195 chorus. Or actually, I put that in there. I forgot about that. But yeah, industrial hemp. I am going to have to put conduit speed upgrades in this for sure once all the crops are running. Because there's no way that without speed upgrades it would keep up. It's going to have them. But yeah, all the crops are going into there. And that's working. I'm happy about it. And just bear in mind, the steel scaffolding, that's possibly temporary, possibly for good. I don't know for sure. I haven't completely decided just yet. But let's go ahead and get like pumpkin and melons planted, for example. And then we're going to connect this up to our system, and then we'll be done, because I know it's about wrapping up point. It actually may very well be wrapping up point at this point. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to do sugarcane as well. Now, a couple things to note, since we're doing the garden cloches right now. First up, they do not, when this grows, that's not block updates. So what that means is, instead of it updating like a normal farm, like all the time saying like, okay, this is grown, harvest this, there's no block updates happening with this garden cloche. So these are actually a lot less laggy than standard farming. The only thing that might add to the lag, of course, is the conveyor system here, but it is what it is. Okay, so we're going to do, like, on this side, we're going to do melons. And these, I actually like watching these grow once they're fully grown. And then we'll do melons over here. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go ahead and set up all of these farms. We'll say sugarcane goes here. And then pumpkin goes right here. But yeah, if you look right there, you can actually see the little, like, watermelon is growing. It looks really, really cool. And then this works with all the Pam's harvestcraft stuff and whatnot. I've tested all of that, even like the water crops. You just have to kind of figure out what soil that you need in this is the main thing. Okay. So there we go. Pumpkins are growing. Sugarcane, melon. It's actually kind of cool because you see all the little like crops going through here, but I'm just concerned a little bit at the moment. Oh, maybe the room's too big. Maybe 4+ of each crop is, because I'm gonna have like those extra little slots there too. But I don't know. We'll see. Having all the Pam's harvestcraft stuff right there. All right, we're gonna put that there, that there, that there. So we should start building up. Yeah, I just got more pumpkins in. Okay, so I've got a lot of crops to do, like 70-ish that I have to implement in there. And one thing, just as a side note, let me actually go sleep real quick. By the way, also as a heads up, the redstone seeds and the ender lily seeds from extra utilities, if you are playing the most recent version of this pack, if you put ender lily seeds or redstone seeds into the cloche, it will crash your game. It will just straight up crash your game. I'm actually running, I updated Immersive Engineering because I was testing, trying to get those to work with Conduits. But just a heads up, if it's just the like standard, the up-to-date version of the pack, you might want to update Immersive Engineering if you want to put ender lily seeds in there. I actually didn't originally plan for ender lily and redstone seeds because they were crashing. I didn't know if that was intended or not, not intended, but if they weren't supposed to work in there or what. But after updating, they do work. So, by the way, to get all the Pam's crops, just as a heads up if you're new to Pam's, I'm going to break up all these gardens, like windy gardens, and then over here it looks like soggy gardens, and then I get all this produce, and then what I can do is I can stick it in here and say get seaweed, there's water chestnut, there's cotton, spice leaf, Brussels sprouts, and basically what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to break a bunch of these gardens and take all the crops back with me, get the seeds planted, and then there we go. Like I said, these do produce seeds when they're ran through the garden cloche. So just a heads up, you're going to have a lot of seeds coming in from all this Pam stuff. And there's a bunch of other types of gardens too, not just soggy and windy. But I know I've got a bunch of these around my base. Somehow I just picked up a windy garden. I didn't think you could actually pick those up. Because then, of course, if I planted those, then they would spread. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and just get ourselves one other thing here, and that is a network transmitter and receiver. Let's see, our network transmitter, for right now anyways, we're going to set it up. Where is our other one? Right there. Okay, I tell you what, this one is going to go right here then. network transmitter. Because I want those to be accessible without really, you know, being in the way, honestly. Alright, I think we're going to go just under the floor for this. And we'll do, say, the network receiver is going to sit right here. The controller slave, we'll put it right there. We'll stick an external storage just right on there. And then we'll shift right click the network receiver. And then go plug this up. And then we should be able to access, for example, like our chorus fruit and stuff that we have in that drawer system so far. So we'll throw that in there, 92 blocks. If we take a look now at chorus, we have 348, okay, of the chorus fruit. So that is in fact working. And actually I got to thinking that one nice thing about having the chest there and not having the dropping conveyor on it, of course, is that we can open this chest. So if we're trying to grow new things or something, they don't have a place to go, we can open that chest and there we go. Oh, that's going to be a problem. Oh, it was because I had my magnet on. That's my fault. Never mind. It was when I was under the floor and I had the magnet on. I think it was pulling items off and just they were going wherever. So that's one thing I am going to have to remember is to keep the magnet off or change to the Ender IO magnet. Because if I recall correctly, it can't pull stuff off of these. So that's definitely something I'm going to have to keep in the back of my mind. There's carrots. There's potatoes. Even though we already have sugarcane and potatoes growing, I'm just doing it for the sake of completion. And there we go. Now that stuff's heading down the conveyor line. I do like this. I think it's going to look good once it's done. I just hope these conveyors don't lag too much. Okay. And we are going to want to place 4 vanilla seeds to go. Because there are some uses for those, I think. Yeah. It's definitely something we're going to want to hold on to. But my plan is, I was originally intending to get a bit more into the planting the Pam's harvestcraft stuff this episode. Didn't quite work out that way. You know, we had to change over to conveyors. But having this in place is going to help out a ton because basically like these, both of these quests right here, both require Pam's harvestcraft stuff. And we'll be able to change over to a new food source probably by next episode. Once I get a little bit of Pam's harvestcraft stuff planted. Anyways, I know it's wrapping up point next episode because I've been putting it off and putting it off, putting it off. Next episode, we are going to start off the episode by getting into baubles. And then we are going to do abyssal craft. Okay? Because baubles, I know there's been a lot of talk about that. Personally, it's not a big rush for me. I'm doing fine without baubles, but I know some of you guys seem interested in seeing me get into baubles. So, start of next episode, we're going to do that, and then abyssal craft because there's things I need from that mod, especially for building and stuff, but also things that would really benefit us. Plus, there's bosses there and all kinds of stuff tied to abyssal craft. So, I want to go ahead and start getting into that mod. Plus, I love that mod. I absolutely love that mod. So. That is the plan for next episode, baubles and abyssal. So, because we've done tech the last few episodes with power and garden cloches and everything. Also, we will take a look in here next episode because I'll do a bit of work. I'll clean up all these conduit facades as well as add a bunch more crops because I'm going to start working through all the Pam's crops. And if you're wanting to know if you're planning, by the way, if you're planning like out of farm or something like that, if you're wondering how many Pam's crops there are, as far as seed-based crops that grow in the ground, not including tree crops, there's 60. So just a heads up. So anyways, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay up to date with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I will see you guys then.